another movie review, and I'm sure you're going to be sick of it because if I already did Star Wars A New Hope, we are now going to do more Star Wars movies, and I hate to break it to you, but the review after this will be even more Star Wars movies. But we are going to lighten the load by tackling Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi in one review. I don't really want to break it up. And then after that, I am going to review parts 1, 2, and 3 from the 90s and early 2000s all in just one review, just kind of like how I did in my How to Train Your Dragon reviews. I don't really want to spend too much time on each individual movie. Just kind of give a brief overview and tell you what I think of it, and then you can tell me if I'm crazy. So last year, I had already had a Star Wars DVD box set of the original films, but it's with like the stuff that Lucas added in later, and I couldn't find my VHS box set, so I was at a thrift shop up in Folsom, and I got this 1992 trilogy box set, which is really cool because it has the sleeve here, and then I guess you want to call this a gatefold. It kind of opens up. I like it. So we are now going to review Empire Strikes Back and then immediately go right into Return of the Jedi. So I watched all these movies in 2 days, and my kids, they weren't as interested in the original films without any of the fancy CGI, although I prefer that, which we'll get into that later in the other review. So, oh my gosh, someone's blowing up my phone. Go away, I'm in the middle of a movie review here. So, banner text updates right in the middle of the review. Empire Strikes Back. It has a 128-minute runtime. It came out the year my parents were married in 1980. I believe it was May of 1980. And this movie was not directed by George Lucas, unlike the first movie was. This says it was based off of his story, and it was directed by Ivan Kershner, who the only thing that I could mention that he directed off the top of my head besides this is RoboCop Part 2, and then he did some stuff in the 50s and 60s, nothing that I'd ever heard of. We see the introduction of Billy D. Williams in this movie, and also the actor, I believe, that plays the Emperor we see in this movie, and I can't remember his name for the life of me, and I was lazy and I didn't look it up, but you know who I'm talking about. I'm not getting too technical here, because if you're watching this review, I'm assuming you know a lot more about Star Wars than me, and you just want to hear what somebody else has to say about this movie with fresh eyes. So growing up watching this movie as a kid in the 90s, I think this would have been my least favorite of the three films, and it just kind of felt more boring to me. Going from 1977 to 1980, when the first movie had such success, this budget was $18 million to make this movie, and it grossed $549 million. That's kind of a rough estimate at the box office. And I see the budget increase in this movie compared to if you watch the original cut of this. It just seems a lot more low-key and a low budget. I feel like this movie, even in its original unmolested format before he started adding all the CGI in the 90s, it is a superior technical movie compared to this one. I just feel like with what they were able to accomplish in 1980 as far as special effects, it just is awesome. The way they filmed it is great, and to me this is more stylistic. The acting is a lot better in this movie. And I am giving this movie 5 out of 5. I think I gave the first one 3 out of 5. It's okay, but it's not great. But to me, this is a superior film compared to The New Hope. And IMDb, 8.7 out of 10. Google was 94%, and Rotten Tomatoes was 94%. So I just feel like Mark Hamill's acting was a lot better in this movie. And just, I don't know. To me, the story just was more interesting. And then obviously there's that pivotal scene where he finds out that like Darth Vader is his father, and like I bought his emotion. It was great. And the whole battle on the Hoth system, I just really enjoyed the snow planet, you know, the snow monster and all that. it was likable. I enjoyed it far more than I enjoyed New Hope. Just to be clear, because now I'm repeating myself. See, this is why I didn't want to do like one entire segment on this movie. We're going to do 2 for 1. So let's set this one aside, and we will jump right into Return of the Jedi. And see, another change in life, right? Growing up, this one was my favorite of the 3 original films. And I watch it now with modern 2022 eyes as a 35-year-old. And it's not my favorite anymore. To me, this is kind of hokey. You see all the Jim Henson Ewoks. It just kind of seems cheesy to me. But, you know, there are parts that I like. The whole Jabba the Hutt thing. And then, like, you know, the slave ship that he goes out on. And there's, like, that battle. And Han Solo comes out of the carbonite. And then there's that creature down in the pit. Like, I really like that part of the movie. But then, like, the whole Ewok thing just kind of was like, eh. And growing up as a kid, I really didn't think anything of it. I probably thought like, oh, those things are cute and cuddly, and now they just look so cheesy to me in the modern era. But I mean, this movie came out in 1983, and it was directed by, I can't even read my own handwriting, Richard Marquand. And sadly enough, he died 4 years after this movie in 1987, the year I was born. So again, 1983. This one had, dang it, a budget of $32 million. Can't even read my own writing, folks. This is why I usually type my notes up on the typewriter. Poor penmanship. $475 million at the box office. 134-minute runtime. Richard Marquand, he did this other movie called Jagged Edge, which I have heard of, and I've seen the VHS out thrifting, but I've never bought it. Glenn Close and Jeff Bridges. And then he did another movie with Donald Sutherland that was well received as a spy thriller. I can't remember the name. So he had some more notable movies than the director of this movie here. For me, I am kind of like similar to this. I am going 3 out of 5 on both of these films. So I was 3 out of 5 on the original film, and I'm 3 out of 5 on I think this is considered part 5. No, part 6. I don't know. Because if they did like weird continuity, I can't remember. It just, I don't know. It's good, but it's cheesy. And it's a classic, but it's a B movie, right? IMDb, I think people kind of disagree with me. IMDb is higher on the scale, 8.3 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, 83%. And Google users was 95%. So this movie scored high for a lot of people, but for me, it was just not. It was kind of like I'm lumping these two together. It was better production quality, but then there was just parts of it was like, this is total ham. Whereas again, Empire Strikes Back, to me, it's the superior movie, and I think this one might have even been nominated for Best Picture of the Year. Come here. So you watched partially these movies with me. These are the original movies. They were kind of boring for you, weren't they?
Yeah, kind of.
So we have the first movie here. What would you give your rating on that one?
The first one?
You were kind of in and out. You didn't really sit down and watch that movie all the way through.
I would give it 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. Okay, you're going a little bit of a different rating system, but it's still kind of mid-range for him. And then this is the second one where he gets his arm, he gets hurt by that snow creature, and there's the snow planet, and then he gets his. What do you think about The Empire Strikes Back?
I would give that one 8 up to 10.
See, he's getting right there with me. He thinks this is the superior movie too. And then last, Return of the Jedi, where they blow up the Death Star again, and Darth Vader kills the Emperor. What did you think of that one? And then there's that Jabba the Hutt guy.
I would give that one 9 stars, maybe.
Wow, so you like this one the most then? More than the first two. And we'll have you back again when I review the other 3 movies. We won't talk about that now. We're going to do another segment on that later. But yeah, we're going to talk about the other 3 ones with young Anakin. And we'll get into that next time. So there you have it, folks. Me reviewing the movies again with new eyes. He was a first-time viewer. And he was kind of in his progression. He was like, me and him agreed on this one. He liked this one the most. And he liked this one the second best. So maybe we're right, maybe we're wrong. They're different movies for everybody. Everybody has their opinion. My opinion doesn't matter. I'm just some dude on the internet in my desk, in my office here. Until next time, we will see you then.